Hey there, I'm Jesse. I'm a photojournalist working in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and today we're going to be talking about making broadcast television news in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic.
Please stay away from me.
So, first thing, we're not working out of the news station right now. We're working out of our homes. So the only people here right now are the anchors, editors, some of the producers, people who basically can't work from home. Normally we wait here and then we get randomly paired up with each other when breaking news happens. Hey there! Yeah?
Do it for the gram.
Alright, we'll see you around, man.
See ya.
But now things are a little different. I used to work with a different reporter almost every day, but now things are a little more consistent. I work with Patrick Hayes, and basically the way it works is we usually meet either at my house or at his house, and we'll go out and shoot our stories. Then we'll go back to my house and edit there because I have my personal computer there, which I edit on.
We spoke with Judge Ashley Talbador.
Most of the interviews we shoot via Skype or Zoom, so that's pretty safe for us to do. And that honestly covers, I would say, about 70% of the stories we do. The times where we're not shooting our entire story off of a computer screen, we are out covering either very good news or very sad news. The good news is usually awesome, and it's usually someone donating a bunch of toilet paper to people for free.
The reaction was it's heartbreaking because you see their emotion, and a couple of families and a couple of people were crying because they said that we were the angels that they were waiting for, and it's just very touching, very touching.
Or maybe a restaurant donating their food to a bunch of first responders.
They absolutely deserve it. I wish we could do this every day for them.
It has really brought us together from all over. I mean, when people are donating to us and they're just taking it right out of their pockets, right out of that business, and they might be struggling, but they want to make sure that they are supporting us because we are supporting the community.
Seeing New Mexicans pay it forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
When we need it the most.
There was another time we had a parade go by of police and firefighters and other first responders. This is a siren and light parade for first responders to show their support for each other. They're outside of UNO Hospital right now, and they're all putting their sirens on and lights to help show that they support them. However, there's some kind of sucky things we have to go cover too, and that is frustrating when we have to go cover those. When crime happens or when there's people protesting the stay-at-home order, it's very frustrating to have to go and interact with those people. Because in a normal world without disease everywhere, people will see me out in the street covering some sort of crime, and they'll walk up to me and be like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And normally that's fine, and we talk a bit about what's going on. Maybe they live in the area and I can interview them a bit about it. But during coronavirus, I don't want that at all. I don't want people to get near me. I don't want people touching me. I'm like, oh no, scooch back, and I'll move my camera. I'll move myself and my camera back, and they're like, I ain't gonna get you sick. Don't worry about it. It's just allergies. Don't worry about it. It's just a media conspiracy, which is so insulting for me to hear that. Like I'm part of perpetuating this made-up disease that is just ruining everyone's lives. But no, you're like, oh, don't worry, I'm not sick. And it's like, one, you don't know that. It has a 2-week incubation period. But two, I could be sick. We're social distancing from each other for each other's benefit. It's not a one-way street, man. One of our reporters, Kai, was covering a protest of the stay-at-home order, and this man accosted him. Here, I'll show you the clip here.
Please stay back 6 feet from me and maintain social distancing.
No.
Please stay back.
No. Come on, let's see what happens here. I want to see.
Are you rolling on this, Jeremy?
You are. How much of this bullshit you're accepting?
Sir, please stay away from me.
Destroying your family.
All right, let's leave.
It's hard not to just be mad when I see things like this and when I encounter ignorant people out in the world. What I think might help people get their heads around it is to not think of home quarantining as your duty or some sort of responsibility you have for people or something that you're being forced to do, but rather that it's a kind decision that you're making, that it's a kind action you're taking to help save lives, to help take one more domino out of the line of people who have to die.
So the N95 mask, which is what I'm wearing, works well only if it's super tight. So I'm not sure if you guys can see how tight this is on my face, but this starts to hurt me after, I would say, 25 minutes or so. I start to just really want to tear it off. So as often as possible, we try to limit our exposure to crowded places and just basically be able to go back inside somewhere, back to where it's safe, take the mask off, and just live our normal lives.
And pre-existing conditions aren't just severe things, which I see people all the time, they think that pre-existing conditions are very common. Things like diabetes, things like asthma, things like high blood pressure. These pre-existing conditions are things that I would say most Americans have one of those three. The other thing we're trying to do during this time is lead by example. We're trying to show visually on camera how much work we're putting into separating ourselves from the people we talk to and even from each other.
So now we're at the Roundhouse, which is the state capitol building of New Mexico, and I'm here waiting. We're about to do a presser with the governor to give us an update on COVID-19. Here is the equipment we use to make sure we're safe. Down here is a feed splitter where there's a camera inside the room there with the governor, and that camera is feeding out to here. And then I have my two feeds, one of them here to record it, and the other one going into our live unit here, which I'll turn on in a minute. But this is how we'll broadcast the signal back. When this first started, we would all be in that room together. But now it's nice because we get to further put barriers in between the air we're all breathing together.
Most of the interviews we do, it's a little more intimate because we're not just seeing the person now, we're also seeing this person's home. And I think it's also making everyone a little more aware of what their home looks like. And I don't know, I think that's something that's a little, I don't know, maybe visually nerdy, but I think it's kind of sweet getting to see everyone's house. I think instead of focusing so much on when will this end or when this will be over, that's really thinking of it like a punishment. And really, we need to flip our brains a little bit, because even though this is time that's different right now, it's still time that's in your life. And you have the opportunity, if you take it, to use this time in your life like you've never had the opportunity before. If you're able to be home right now, you can pursue the projects you've always wanted to pursue. You know, you can work on your skills, you can work on your hobbies, you can make yourself new and improved for the new world that's going to exist when we get out of here.
You can do it, New Mexico. We all can. We're in it together, all together, New Mexico. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you.
Oh man, I just finished up filming the governor's presser. And I've had that mask on for about, I would say 2 hours? Yeah, 2 hours and 20 minutes. And my face hurts. But the good news is now I get to go home.